Okay, so my topic of my presentation is marriage for all, or Quo Vadis marriage. It's about the contribution is about some general overview of current developments in European jurisdiction in relation to marriage. I'm a PhD student in Masaryk University in Brno, Czech Republic, and I'm a trainee lawyer in a law office, and I mostly deal with family law in my practice. To introduce the topic, I think that we can say with a little simplification that family law stands on a recognition of a legal relationship between adults, which is mostly or just a marriage. The gender of persons which can enter into marriage is currently one of the most discussed topics in West Europe or maybe worldwide. I will introduce the topic with some definition of approaches to marriage, because if we focus on the European trends, we may identify some diversity approaches to marriage and to question the question of gender of persons which can enter into marriage. The first approach is that the marriage can be or may be open to different and at the same time for the same-sex couples equally. This approach is, for example, the Netherlands. The second approach is that the marriage is reserved just for opposite sex couples, but the same sex couples have some other option how can their relationship be legally recognized. For example, some civil unions or registered partnerships. This is, for example, Czech Republic, where I came from. We have a marriage just for men and women, but we have also the registered partnerships. And the third approach is that the marriage is reserved just for different sex couples, just for men and women, but the jurisdiction of the state does not provide any other option for the same-sex couples. So that's for example our neighbor Slovakia. They don't have any registered partnership or a civil union. It's being currently discussed there, but it's not enacted yet. Why is it? Why the marriage is important, or why this union is probably important for also the same-sex couples? Are the rights and the duties of the married couple, which comes from the fact that the persons are in this legally recognized union. There are some differences in Europe in duties and rights which the couple has, but some things are very similar. For example, that some property regime that couple can modify the regime by a contract, that the married couple is obligated to provide maintenance to each other, that they can adopt a child, they have some social or tax benefits, and also that the marriage can be divorced. So these are some summary of rights and duties which the married couple has. And sorry. Now I would like to just a little make just a little introduction to jurisdiction or some cases of European Court for Human Rights. First, I will mention the case Schalk and Kopf. I think that the most of us knows that. I will just do a short summary of the outcome. The European Court for Human Rights ruled that there is no positive obligation for state to have a special legal institution like marriage for same-sex couples. That was the decision or the case and the decision which is not new. There was some step forward in a case Gas and Dubois versus France, where the court ruled that there should be some protection for the same-sex couples, and another step forward was Oliari and others versus Italy, where the European Court for Human Rights ruled that the rights of the same-sex couples was violated because there is no legal recognition and protection for their relationship and union. So there should be some legal framework, and it does not need to be necessarily marriage. That was not said in this decision, but there should be some protection. So that was the conclusion of the European Court of Human Rights. In European countries, we see some tendencies which leads to enacting marriage for same-sex and also opposite-sex couples. The three main process which leads to it is the legislative procedure, ruling by a constitutional court, and the referendum. That are the three ways which can lead to a marriage or the change in a concept of marriage by letting the same-sex couples enter into marriage. Nowadays, the 16 states in Europe recognizes same-sex couples as eligible to enter into marriage. And the first country which opened marriage for same-sex couples was the Netherlands in 2001. In Czech Republic, there is currently a bill which was brought by a group of representatives, which should open marriage for all. But the bill is almost a year in a procedure, and it was not enacted yet. So the legislative procedure, it's the way which some countries choose. For example, it was Sweden which enacted the change of marriage code, which changed the term woman and man to term two persons can enter into marriage. So that was just a change of one word, and the same situation was, for example, in South Africa, where was a change of Civil Union Act, where was also the man and a woman changed to two persons. The second way is the referendum, which can lead to marriage for all, and this was, for example, in Ireland, where was a referendum. The outcome was in favor of opening marriage for all, so it was then enacted. And the third way is the ruling of some Supreme or Constitutional Court, which declares that the marriage just for a man and woman is against the rights the rights of the same-sex couples, and they changed the law. This procedure by the decision of Constitutional Court was, for example, in Austria. It was in 2017, and there was the marriage opened for all by the ruling of a constitutional court. There are also some other tendencies which reacts mostly on the on this trend that the marriage is in Europe being opened for the same-sex couples. So some countries reacts to these tendencies by their own way, and it can be or it's mostly the step that the state or their jurisdiction describes marriage as a union for a man and a woman in their constitution. So they change the constitution. It's the reason why they do this way is that the change of a constitution is in most countries, or in the all countries in Europe, harder than the change of a basic law. So they ensure that if somebody wants in the future open a marriage for same-sex couples, it will be harder than now. So, and the second reason why it's for them to better to have it in constitution is that the constitutional court or some supreme court is usually bounded by the constitution, so the court cannot change it. So the marriage cannot be opened for all or for same-sex couples by a court decision, by the constitutional court decision, because the constitutional court is bounded by the constitution, which describes marriage as a union for a man and a woman. So some states reacted to these tendencies this way, that they wanted to protect the marriage for just men and women. For example, from European countries, we can or I can name Slovakia, where is in constitution the marriage described as a union of a man and a woman. And for example, in Czech Republic, as I spoke about the bill that wants should provide the marriage for same-sex couples, there was at the same time another bill which should lead to describe the marriage as a union for a man and a woman in a constitution, in a Czech constitution. So there was two opposite bills, and the bill which should describe marriage as a union of a man and a woman in constitution was rejected, but the bill which should open the marriage for same-sex couples, as I said, was not enacted yet. And it's not sure if it will be. We can see the trends or some possibilities in European harmonization, mostly in European Union. I can name one case which was decided by the Court of Justice of European Union. It was the Mr. Komen, it was a Romanian national, and Mr. Hamilton, it was a US national. And they wanted in Romania some official documents because they were married in Belgium. But the Romania didn't want it to grant Mr. Hamilton the permanent residence because they didn't recognize him as a spouse of a European Union citizen. So they didn't the marriage didn't existed for the Romania because it was same-sex marriage, and the advocate general's opinion on that in this case was that because of the European Union directives, the term spouse includes also the spouses of the same sex, because some European states provides the possibility to enter into marriage. So because of the jurisdiction of European Union, there are some duties which states has to respect on this level. Also, there is or we can conclude that there is no harmonization on the European Union level about the definition of marriage. There is no act which would say that the marriage is the union between two persons, or man and a woman. It's on a decision of every state whether it wants to define marriage this way. And there is also no decision of the Court of Justice of European Union or the European Court of Human Rights, which would harmonize this question. So it's on each state how what stand they will choose to this question. As we can see, we have some harmonization, mostly on some divorce, property regimes, or some property consequences of registered partnership, maintenance obligation, but not the definition of a marriage. If I should make some conclusion of this contribution, I think that we can say that there is a clear tendency to open marriage to all in Western Europe, because a lot of states already have the marriage opened for all, but there is also the opposite trend, for example in Slovakia or in Hungary, which protects the marriage as a union for a man and a woman. So that's all for me, and thank you very much for your attention.